Hi kids, Mr. Ta here, and today I want to talk to you about finding books that we want to read. So today we are learning to create procedures and systems to find books that we want to read. Well, why do we need a procedure or a system? Many of you have found great places to read. You've established great habits, finding cozy, quiet places where you can just take your own time and read intensely and give books the attention that they need. So now I'm going to ask you, do you always have a book on deck, meaning ready to go, when you're finished with one book? Or do you end up with a lot of time after you finish one, then you're sort of like waiting around and trying to search around for one? That can get kind of time consuming, is waiting and shopping around for the next book. So we've got to develop ways to pick new books. So, how can teachers help students find books they want to read? Is there a way that we can develop systems in place so that you, even in this virtual environment, can still find another book to read? Why don't you take some time to talk to the screen and say any suggestions that you might have about how we can help you find new books? Okay. Well, here's some things that you can try in your own classroom. You can talk to your class or your small group about your book recommendations, about the books that you're reading and if they're good or not and what you like about them. Your class can start a Flipgrid with video book reviews. Every time you finish a book, you can review it on Flipgrid, and therefore the whole class can see what books have been read by which people. And maybe if you have something in common with that person, you might like the books that they read. An easy way you can find good books is by Googling the book recommendations. Just Google book recommendations for fourth graders. You'll come up with a ton of links that tell you all the favorite books of fourth graders. If you happen to go to the library, well, the librarian in the kids section of the library usually has great ideas about what is good to read. And if you go on Epic or Storia, there are interest categories on the catalogs there. So if you happen to like mysteries, you can just look up mysteries on Epic, and then you'll find a whole bunch of books that you can read that you know at least that you have an interest in. So now's the time where you should be thinking about your own reading response journal when you read, because if you're going to do any of those things like recommend a book, we have to look at our own online reading response journal and see if we've got any patterns. Are the books that you are reading just right for you? So think about your entries. Are there books that you would recommend? If there are books that you would recommend, is there anything in your online reading response journal that you could say that would help you recommend this book to someone else? Have you been writing in detail? Have the books been making you think a great deal? Those would be good books to recommend to people. So you ask yourself these questions. Are these books just right? And do they allow you to read intensely? If they do, then make sure that you share those book recommendations with somebody else and with one of the ways that we described here. So, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the book that you're reading. Really think hard about that. And until next time, I'm Mr. Ta.